Hey all, welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links video, and today I wanted to share my alien deck, the deck that I've been using fairly recently, and on and off for quite a while. I've been using it as one of my decks that I would take onto the ladder. I took it to the KC Cup, sometimes let some duelists in the Duel World auto-duel with it, and I found it's very versatile and quite competitive. Also, this deck is super free to play. There's not a super rare card in it that actually is needed. The whole core of the deck is rares or lowers, so I definitely recommend this for any free to play players. I know Sylvans are also really free to play, but if you don't want to play that, feel free to try out the alien deck. So here is my build. I play using balance. I think that's one of the most key skills to use with this type of deck. You really want to see two monsters at least in your hand, and you don't want to be overrun with spells and traps, because then you'll definitely brick and lose the game. So that's why I don't like restart, and that's why I personally like balance, because it'll get you 2, because we do play 10 monsters. And we actually play 5 spells and 5 traps. Very symmetrical deck. But now it's time for me to explain some of my ratios. Now I really like playing 2 Overlords. So Alien Overlord actually allows you to give a counter to all your opponent's monsters once per turn, and that's super huge. It's great to have the accumulation of counters, especially when you combine it with the other cards, but I love having a tribute summon monster that can also special summon itself out. Having a tribute summon monster is a great way of removing one of your monsters off the field when you're fighting one of those annoying burn decks or stall decks. So that's why I like 2 Overlords, because you can also send it with the spell card. But I don't think 3, because 3 is just too many, because you might brick with that. And 1 I usually find is not enough. I'd like to find another one, plus I'm trying to get to 10 cards here for the monster lineup. And of course, this still has the effect that if a monster with an 8 counter battles an alien monster, it loses 300 attack for each 8 counter during the damage calculation only, and this does stack with other aliens if you do have it, so they can be losing a ton of points. Next up, we have Alien Telepath. Now, I absolutely love this card because it's back row destruction in a monster form, and all you need to do is remove one 8 counter from an opponent's monster to destroy one spell or trap card. Now, this is kind of challenging because this requires your opponent to have a face-up monster, and then for you to actually get an 8 counter on there, so it's not entirely always happening. It's more rare than anything, but if your opponent does put a face-up monster on the field, you can Cell Recombination it, and then you can easily get a counter on there. But we do have a ton of cards in the deck that do put counters on your opponent's monster, so as long as they have a face-up monster, you should be able to use Alien Telepath if that's what you're going for. And being 1600 attack level 4, it's a pretty good beater in the deck. It's not that high of attack, but it's still useful. And I'm not going to mention it again for any other monsters, but this does have the lose 300 attack for each 8 counter effect. They all have that effect. Next up, we have Alien Warrior. Now, of course, play this card at 3. It is absolutely phenomenal because it's 1800, and if it is destroyed by battle, it can place 2 8 counters on a monster that destroyed it. So that's really awesome to get like 8 counters back on the monster, so you can maybe special summon under Overlord next turn, or maybe that monster will be way weaker next turn, so you can bring out maybe your Telepath and just beat over it. And then I play 2 Alien Greys. Now, I've been playing with this number. I like it because it can still work with Cell Recombination. It allows you a draw, which usually happens. This is a great turn 1 play. It's just a set Alien Grey, maybe some back row, and just sit on that, because then your opponent doesn't really know what you're playing. It lets you get an 8 count on your opponent's side of the field, maybe summon off a Telepath next turn, blow up one of their spell and trap cards. But it does require that it is destroyed, flip face up, and then destroyed by battle to draw that card. But it does happen a lot, so that's why I like it. But is 2 too many? I'm not too sure. And moving on to the spell and trap cards. For the spell lineup, we have 2 enemy controllers. I find this is a really useful card in today's metagame. Econ taking is so good. Also, you know, the protection that Econ has, it's a very versatile card. You want to be able to use this against your Cyber Angel matchup. You want to use this when your monsters are being attacked, because it allows you to put that monster in defense mode that's doing the attacking. And all in all, that's why I run 2 of them. Now, I don't think it's a 3 of, but I definitely want to see it more than I would if it's only being played at 1. Now, for the most prominent card, I'd say one of the best cards in the deck, we have Cell Recombination Device. Now, this card is a quick play spell, and I love quick play spells. So, you can target one face-up monster on the field, send one alien monster from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, place 8 counters on that monster equal to the level of the sent monster. So you can send anywhere from 2 to 4 to 6. And that's really great because it really gives a lot of versatility for what you're looking for and what you can do. Plus, you can set this and activate during your opponent's turn. You can play from your hand when you go into the battle phase if you have a couple copies. Let your opponent think that you don't have one face down. That sort of business. But it also acts as a searcher for the deck. You can banish this card in the main phase, not the turn it was sent, but the turns after, and add one alien monster from your deck to your hand. Now, this is super awesome because any deck with searching capabilities, especially for its core cards, is usually a little bit better than the standard deck. That's why it allows you to search for any alien. There's no restriction on what alien monster, so you can grab anything that's needed for the situation you're up against, and being a combination of a quick play card that offers A counters being sent on there, which usually offers protection, or a combo with Brainwashing Beam, and a searching card, definitely play 3 of this card. Now I just play the one powerful rebirth. I can see people playing this more, but it usually ends up being stuck on the field. If you wanted to play more than one powerful rebirth, I would take out one Brainwashing Beam, the very last card in the deck. I like just playing with one powerful rebirth. I don't tend to use it as often, but it is super powerful. But you guys can feel free to play with the numbers a little bit, but I like one powerful rebirth. It's great to revive those little 4 lower monsters. Maybe toss an alien warrior in defense mode and allow it to be destroyed to get 2 more 8 counters put on the field. I also love Wall of Disruption. I think it's a necessity card to maybe play one of these. I didn't like Floodgate Trap Hole because you want more face-up monsters, you want to deal some massive damage, and I didn't really like Mirror Wall either because Mirror Wall is more situational, but I did like Wall of Disruption because your opponent usually is spamming up monsters, so if Wall of Disruption can resolve, it usually means a turn in game state and you will take control of the board once again. And now for one of the craziest cards in this deck is Brainwashing Beam, and I've used this so often. It's great against the lower levels of the ladder, and it's great in pro plays where you can do some major combos and just take your opponent's monsters. It's a great way of removing a threat off your opponent's field and maybe just giving you some bonus too. So let's talk about what Brainwashing Beam does. Select one monster with at least one A counter on your opponent's side of the field and take control of that. You actually get that monster, but this is a targeting effect. So Hazies and other non-targetable cards are not affected by this card. But we rarely see Hazies anymore on the ladder, so thank goodness this deck is all the better for it. The drawback is during each of your end phase, remove one A counter from that controlled monster, and if all A counters are removed from that monster or that monster is destroyed, destroy this card. The wording on there is a little iffy because if you lose all A counters, it actually gives the monster back. It doesn't send it to the graveyard, it doesn't do anything like that, so you take control of the monster with one A counter, and then you don't kill them that turn, and the A counters all diminish. It should give your opponent the monster back. So that's kind of a little troublesome. Make sure you use up that monster or go for game when you use Brainwashing Beam because you don't want to just give them the monster back. So this is my alien deck, and I really like it. I have a few replays to show you guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you at the end of the video. Alright, so here's a fun little match. Now this is against the Yami Merrick level 50 that's found in the Duel World during the current event, and a lot of people are just like, I can't figure out how to beat Yami Merrick. Yami Merrick keeps beating me. All you gotta do is find some way of either taking the monster, just removing it from the field, negating its effects. There's thousands of cards that can get rid of that. It's so easy. And I know it might not happen every single time that you draw into that, but you can build a deck that's just reliant on those type of effects, and you can easily, that's really his only play, is that Wind Dragon Umbrella. See? Econ take. I didn't use anything special about this deck. Any level 4 monster could have done that, and Econ. Easy, quick. I just wanted to mention that in here. Alright, so first off, I just wanted to showcase how easy this deck can just stomp over the less competitive decks. This deck is very quick, and it can easily just grab all the advantage and then just go for game. Alright, and there we have it. As you can see, the alien deck is quite fun. It's extremely budget, and it can do pretty well on the ladder as well. I can see people climb with it. It did really well in some MCSs before, and I can see it having some potential in the future, even though I'd have to say for this discussion, this post-discussion right here, it's definitely dated. There is better decks. There's much better decks, but this is really cheap and really good. It's not top tier, but it's a really good contender, and it's very easy to build. So I recommend this to any new players or any players that just want a fun deck. I like it because it's fun. I'm definitely not new. I've definitely maxed out my gem count. I definitely have 44 other items of gems in my storage gift box. So I'm waiting for a deck that I find fun. I'm not usually jumping into King of Games. I want to have fun with this game, and I like just playing fun decks and collecting the cards, enjoying the events, and yeah, a little bit of PvP now and there. And that's why this deck I am showcasing today, because I like the deck. It's not the best deck, but it certainly might be the cheapest competitive deck out there. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Hope you found this video informative. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, make sure to leave them down below, and I'll be sure to answer them as quickly as I can to the best of my abilities. Hope to see you in the next one, and as always, peace.